soy sauce, miso, teriyaki, tare, Ponzu. Japanese cooking can feel like it has an endless list of sauces. To most people, they seem like separate, unrelated inventions, a different bottle for every dish. It can feel impossible to keep them straight. Soy, tare, teriyaki, ponzu, they all blur together. But they are not separate at all. Almost every Japanese sauce is built from the same small handful of ingredients. Learn those few building blocks, and the whole confusing shelf suddenly makes sense. There is a hidden logic under all of it. By the end of this video, you will be able to read almost any Japanese sauce in seconds. This is your map. There is a shared secret hiding behind all of them. So let's decode it. Here it is, right up front. Nearly every Japanese sauce is a mix of the same 5 things: soy sauce, mirin, sake, sugar, and dashi. That is the core toolkit. Add a little miso for body, or citrus for brightness, and you can build almost anything. The sauces are just different ratios of these same roots. It is a bit like music, where a few notes make endless songs. The genius is in the combinations, not the count. So as we go, listen for those building blocks. You will start to hear soy, mirin, and sake in almost everything. And quickly, before we go deeper, thank you for actually watching this, instead of just scrolling past it. Stick around, because the last sauce on this list did not really come from Japan at all. Let's start with the foundation of them all. Soy sauce, or shoyu. Soy sauce is brewed by fermenting soybeans and wheat with a mold called koji, often for months. That slow fermentation builds deep, salty, savory umami. There are different grades and styles, from light to dark. But all of them share that same fermented depth. It is far more than just salty water. Good soy sauce carries hundreds of aromas from that long brewing. It is the salt and the backbone of Japanese cooking. Almost every other sauce here begins with a splash of it. Take soy sauce away, and most of this list simply falls apart. It is the true starting point. Next, its thicker cousin. Miso. Miso is a fermented paste of soybeans, salt, and that same koji mold. Where soy sauce is a liquid, miso is a rich, concentrated paste. White miso is sweet and mild. Red miso is dark and intense. The type you choose changes the whole sauce. It brings deep body and savory weight, not just to soup, but to glazes and dressings. Soy sauce and miso are the 2 great fermented pillars. One is liquid and sharp, the other thick and deep. Together they cover a huge range of savory flavor. Between them, they season a huge slice of Japanese cooking. Almost every savory dish leans on one or the other. Now the ingredient that makes so many sauces taste Japanese. Mirin. Mirin is a sweet rice wine, used purely for cooking. It adds a gentle sweetness and a beautiful glossy shine. It is not really a sauce on its own. It is more of a magic ingredient that lifts all the others. This is the secret to that signature sweet-savory balance. Whenever a Japanese sauce tastes both sweet and salty at once, mirin is usually why. It rounds off the sharp edges of soy sauce and salt. It is the peacemaker that ties a sauce together. Without it, many sauces would taste harsh and one-note. A splash of mirin makes them feel finished. Quick note before the second half. I have full, separate breakdowns of soy sauce, miso, and dashi, the roots of all of this. You will find them at the end of this video and linked in the description, so if one grabs you, you can head straight there. Now let's build our first real sauce from those blocks. Tare. Tare is a concentrated seasoning base, and it is where the magic starts. At its simplest, it is soy sauce, mirin, and sake, simmered together. That single mixture is the heart of so many dishes. It seasons the bottom of a ramen bowl. It glazes yakitori skewers. It flavors rice bowls. So if you have eaten ramen or yakitori, you have already tasted tare. You just did not know its name. It hides in plain sight in some of Japan's most famous dishes. It is everywhere, once you start to look. So tare is not one fixed sauce. It is a family, all built on that soy, mirin, and sake foundation. Every ramen shop guards its own tare recipe. It is the fingerprint that makes their bowl unique. Some are dark and salty, some sweet and rich. The base is the same, but the balance is theirs alone. Now take that same idea and reduce it down. And you get teriyaki. Teriyaki is soy sauce, mirin, and sugar, simmered until thick and glossy. The name actually refers to that shine, teri, and the grilling, yaki. Brush it on chicken or fish as it cooks, and it caramelizes into a sweet, savory glaze. It is one of the most famous Japanese sauces in the world. And notice something. Teriyaki is really just tare, pushed sweeter and thicker. That is the whole trick you keep seeing. Small changes to the same base give a completely new sauce. A little more sugar, a longer simmer, a splash of citrus. Tiny adjustments, completely different results. Now for a completely different feeling. Ponzu. Ponzu is soy sauce brightened with sharp citrus juice like yuzu or sudachi. Sometimes a little dashi goes in too. That citrus completely changes the character. Suddenly a heavy soy base becomes bright and lively. Where the others are deep and sweet, ponzu is tangy, light and refreshing. It cuts through rich food instead of adding weight. You dip cooked meats, dumplings, or hot pot into it. It is the one you reach for when a dish feels too rich. A few drops, and heavy food suddenly feels balanced again. That is ponzu's whole job. And finally, the odd one out I promised you. Tonkatsu sauce. This is the thick, dark, fruity sauce poured over fried cutlets and okonomiyaki. And unlike the others, its roots are not really Japanese. It is closer to a British brown sauce than to soy or miso. It is a Japanese take on Worcestershire sauce made from fruits, vegetables, vinegar, and spices. It arrived from the West, and Japan made it its own. That is why it tastes a little different from everything else here. It is the exception that proves the rule. Almost everything else grows from those fermented Japanese roots. But here's what most people miss. Japan does not really have 100 unrelated sauces. It has a small set of building blocks combined in different ways. Soy sauce, mirin, sake, sugar, and dashi, with miso and citrus nearby. Tare is soy, mirin, and sake. Teriyaki is that, reduced with sugar. Ponzu is soy plus citrus. Once you see the pattern, the whole shelf reorganizes itself. You are not memorizing dozens of sauces. You are learning a few ingredients. That is a huge relief. Learn 5 things and hundreds of sauces open up to you. You stop seeing a wall of mystery bottles. You start seeing a few ingredients dressed up in different ways. And almost all of it rests on fermentation. Soy sauce and miso, and the dashi behind so many of them, are all built by time and koji. That is the real foundation of Japanese flavor. Not clever sauces, but a few deeply savory fermented roots. Everything else is a variation on that theme. Balance the salt, the sweet, and the umami, and you have a Japanese sauce. So the next time you face a wall of Japanese bottles, do not panic. Ask what is inside each one. You will find the same names again and again: soy, mirin, sake, sugar, dashi. They are the alphabet of Japanese flavor. Every sauce is just a different word spelled from them. Once you can read the alphabet, the whole language opens up. Nothing on the shelf is a stranger anymore. And that is a very Japanese way of cooking. A small, perfected set of ingredients, endlessly recombined. Each of the big ones is also worth its own deep dive, because the details are where the magic lives. The fermentation of soy sauce, the depth of miso, the umami of dashi. So, here is your takeaway. Japanese sauces are not an endless random list. They are a few fermented building blocks, combined and balanced in different ways. Learn those roots, and you can read almost any Japanese sauce. Now, I would genuinely love to know, which of these lives in your kitchen right now? Tell me in the comments below. And here is the one moment I will actually ask. If this finally untangled Japanese sauces for you, leave a like. It really helps the channel grow. And subscribe if you want more of Japanese food decoded, one dish at a time. To go deeper right now, the video on the left breaks down soy sauce, the base of almost every sauce here. And on the right, you can decode miso, the other great fermented pillar. See you in the next one.